Good afternoon and happy Saturday to you. Dr. PRW here, Preston Winfrey. What a delight it is for me to have this privileged opportunity to join you. And thank you for taking the time, for carving time out of your busy schedule to meet with me for my Saturday afternoon inspiration. It's a time that I've just become accustomed to looking forward to, sharing excerpts from my heart and things that just kind of go through my mind, and I enjoy sharing, and I'm so appreciative for you taking the time from your schedule to meet with me at this hour, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And those of you who may not look at it at 3, but you may choose to look at it a little later on when it's a more convenient time. But let me just say thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. The song you hear is Thank You, Lord, for all you've done for me, all you're doing for me, all you're going to do for me. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Could be me who's outdoors, no place to sleep, no food to eat. But you look beyond my faults. That's what he did. And he saw my need. How about you? Hasn't the Lord been good to you? You've been your dwelling place through all generations. Aren't you thankful in your heart? In your heart of hearts, aren't you grateful that God has been good to you? And that he just keeps on doing great and more great things for us. The psalmist said, the Lord has done great things for us, whereof we are glad. Well, tomorrow is National Youth Sunday, and I wanted to speak a word to parents and guardians and anyone else who will listen. I want to just say, and my topic today is, don't destroy your child. Don't destroy your child. You have more than one. Don't destroy your children. Let them live. Don't cause them to have a sudden death. Many special emphasis tomorrow is going to be placed on youth. And while we are so thankful to the Lord for young people and thankful for them today, we are equally troubled that so many young people are having so many issues that they're facing today. And unfortunately, some of those issues are going to be a ripple effect on the days to come. There's a major crisis today, among young people, and they're facing it. They're having to deal with it. It's taking place even as I speak regarding these young people. Many young people have been just utterly destroyed. Their lives have been ruined. And unfortunately, much of this destruction that has taken place is performed systemically. The system is designed many times for young people not to make it, and so they have so many different attractions. The majority of young people you see, they run around with some kind of tablet or some kind of cell phone or an iPad in their hands, and they're just constantly looking at it. That grabs a lot of their attention, looking at videos and playing games, texting and sexting and all those kind of things. And what it's doing many times is robbing them of time that they really could be spending in meaningful relationships. Many of them don't even communicate with their parents unless they're sending a text or something other. That's their way of communicating so often with one another. And so much of the destruction that has taken place is performed systemically, while a great deal of the deterioration that they are experiencing has taken place inside, unfortunately, of the home with parental permission. That's a great charge, and I know it is. Too many parents have selfishly permitted their child or their children to be divided or split apart for personal preferences, right? You know, if you're like me, you would probably ask, what in the world what would make any parent destroy their own child? And you know, just off the top of my head, I can think of several excuses, not reasons, excuses any parent would use to destroy their own child. The very first one is selfishness. There are so many selfish parents, people in the world, people who've had children, but who don't understand the responsibility that comes with bearing those children or having them. You know, it's one thing for the man to brag and say, hey, I've got 15 kids, but how many are you taking care of? How many of those 15 children are you spending quality time with? How many of them are you sitting down to say, hey, you know, I made some unwise choices in life, and not put it on the child and say, well, you know, you were a mistake. I don't believe any child deserves to hear that. They did not ask to be born or brought into this world. And so parents need to figure it out. You need to figure out what your conversations are going to be. Another reason is unresolved personal and historical family issues. Everyone has come from a dysfunctional home. You know, no two homes functioned the same way. Parenting is always different. It differs from home to home, house to house, place to place. But my thing is when there are unresolved personal and historical family issues where hurt people, I've been hurt, and so I'm going to inflict hurt on others. I grew up, I didn't trust my parents, so I'm not going to trust my child. Subsequently, my child's not going to trust me. Another issue is ignorance concerning the future. You know, we look at this little child and we think this little child can't speak for his or herself. They can't do anything, they're depending on me. But listen, if that child lives, they're going to end up living what they have learned. What did they learn from you as a parent? What did they learn from you as a guardian? You know, if you had mistrust issues, will you then pass those over to the child? And so unresolved, personal issues and historical family issues can ruin a child. Sometimes another thing is ignorance concerning the future. You know, you look at this child and just think this child will never be anything worthwhile, and why should I invest my time? Why should I invest my money? Why should I insert knowledge into this child? This is just a kid. A kid is a goat. This is a child, and child don't deserve what I have to offer. But listen, perhaps that child that you're ignoring may have been a paramedic, may have become an officer of the law, may have become a politician, may have become a preacher, may have become a doctor, an attorney. You know, you get it? And one of the worst things that could happen is for that child to grow up and become one of these essential workers, and you ever need them. You know, will the child go back and say, you know what, you didn't invest in me, I'm not going to invest in you. Another reason, sometimes parents who go through divorce, separation, and they're angry about it, they're angry at that other parent. Some of them who never got married, you know, maybe the promise was, you know, you have a child from me, I'll marry you, and that never took place. And now you're angry. You're angry at the child. You look just like your mama. You look just like your daddy. And you're angry with the child for really no reason at all. And the child has to grow up with that and feeling unloved. You know, child is not responsible for your separation nor your divorce. So why include them in on the details? That's too much knowledge. That's too much information for that child. That child is a child. They're not the adult. And what adults agree or disagree upon should remain among them. You know, sometimes parents try to be buddies with their children, equals. You know, well, we're going to double date. That's so ridiculous, unfortunately. I believe that someone's got to be the parent. And your child needs to know that you are my parent. You know, I'm not your parent. I did not have you. I didn't bring you into the world. You brought me into the world. So listen, you had your childhood. Let me have my childhood. Let me be a child while I'm a child. I recall Mickey Rooney many, many years ago saying that he grew up and he got into so much trouble, shooting slingshots, shooting out windows and all these kind of things. And so that the authorities got a hold of him and asked him, why would he do such terrible things? He said, because when I was a child, I was not permitted to have a childhood. I was always told, grow up, act mature, be an adult. Even as a child, he didn't know how to be an adult. He said, so now that I'm old enough to buy my own slingshot and buy my way out of trouble, I get into trouble because I didn't have a childhood. And then one of the final things is, you know, many times parents are missing the larger picture about life and those who will contribute to the future. You never know if the day is going to turn or come when you will actually need your child. And so many parents neglect their children until their child is up and able to do something productive for them. Oh, haven't you known parents who said, Mama, Daddy, I want you to take care of my child. I don't have time. They're saying this in essence. And they don't invest. They don't spend time with their child. And so the grandparents are left raising the children and teaching them principles in life while the parent goes free-nilly into the world and do their own thing, live their lives. And then when the child reaches an age and a level where they can make some contributions, now many of those parents will come back and say, well, you know, I want to be a part of my child's life and I'm ready to take them home. I want them to be with me and I want to train them myself. And many times they introduce them to a more wicked side of life. And the child now, because they're thinking, okay, my parent want me now, I'm going to go and be with the parent, but they're not able to see that many times what that parent is introducing them to is a life that is taking them far from how they had been brought up. And so in 1 Kings chapter 3, you know, verses 16 through 28, you'll find it recounts that two mothers were living in the same house, each of the mothers who had an infant son. They were proud of their sons. But one night, one of the mothers smothered her child. It was by accident, but she smothered her child. And not wanting to have a dead child on her hand, what did she do? She went during the night and swapped babies. And one of the babies that was now alive, unfortunately, this no good mother grabbed it and said, this is going to be my child. And she put the dead child, her dead child, with the mother whose child was alive. Well, the day came when these two mothers had a discussion. And the one mother said, wait a minute, girlfriend, this is not my baby. I know my baby. I carried this baby. I know my baby. And the baby that you have now, that's my child. And I want my child back. Well, I'm here to tell you, an argument arose. And the mother said, nothing could be farther from the truth. You are not going to get this child. This is my baby. So they needed to do something. They needed someone, a mediator. So who did they go to? They went to King Solomon, young king, who had prayed to the Lord and asked for wisdom. Lord, give me wisdom so that I'll know how to judge the people righteously. Give me wisdom so that when I make decisions, there will be intelligent decisions. Can I tell you, they went to the king. They both declared that this is my son. And the other said, no, this dead baby belongs to her. And she just maintained, nope, I'm going to stick with my story. I'm not going to change it. The king said, well, there are two arguments. I don't know who's telling the truth. And there's only one way, one possible way that I can see to settle this matter. He called for someone to bring him a saw. They brought a saw. He said, what I'll do, I'll saw this live child in half, and therefore each of you can have a piece of this child. Now, the one mother thought, that's a great idea, and said, let's go with that, king. Split the child in half. I want half of the living child, and she can have the other half. What else could have been going through her mind? What goes through perhaps some other parent's mind when they permit such craziness to take place? I'm going through separation. I'm going through divorce. I don't care about this child. Let the child die. Let the child get cut up. Someone else's argument is, I've had a rough childhood. I didn't have parents there to care for me. So why should I care for my child? I brought them into this world, so if they live, it's up to them. You have some parents who have the idea that nobody gave me anything in life, so why should I give back something? I brought this child into the world, and hey, this baby's on his own. Here's the key to the crib, and, make ends meet for yourself. There are those who say, I never knew who my parents were. So why should I allow this child to identify with me? Why should others be so happy when I'm so miserable? I'm miserable, and I don't have a white picket fence. I don't have a happy home. So why should I go overboard trying to make someone else's life happy? And then finally, you have the parent who says this, my child died. Why should your child live? I want you to know what it feels like to have the loss of a child, the death of your favorite. How unfortunate is that? How selfish, how mean-spirited, how sinfully wrong that is. Well, you would think that that's the end of the story with that mother who said, let the baby get cut in half, but thank God for a fresh perspective. There was another mother, that second mother. The other mother said, in essence, listen, do not saw the live baby in half. Don't split the child in half, because if you split the child in half, the child will not live. A child cannot live. A child that is cut in half, that is torn in half, that is separated from the rest of its anatomy, can never survive. Let the child live. King, let the lady, let her have the child. And don't you hear that selfish mother saying, that's right, let me have my baby. And the king at that point reached a conclusion. He said, now I know who the real mother is. It is not you who said cut the child in half, but it's you who said let her have the baby. I'd rather the child live and I do without than for me to see this child sawed in half and the child won't live. And so I will have to go through a different kind of death. So as we face the future, may God give parents the courage to simply let their children live. Train them up in the way they should go. Now listen, if you have difficulty with that, talk to somebody. Get with someone who can help you. You know, that's one of the great benefits of the church. We go to church so that we can be equipped. There are so many who just stay away from the church. Now, I don't want to go. I don't want anyone telling me what to do. But listen, when you don't know what to do, isn't it best to go and get some instructions? Find out what you need to do. You know, people come to the church, and it's amazing how many parents and grandparents brought their child to the church when the child was off base. You know, the child needs court supervision. Pastor, can you help my child? Can you do this? Can you give them community work? Because after all, you know, I don't want my child to go and get locked up. Can you go down to the courthouse and can you give a letter of recommendation? A letter talking about their character. And I said, are you sure that's what you want? Well, Pastor, just, you know what to do. Fix it up also. Now you want me to lay my integrity on the line because you didn't do your job. And now that your child's in trouble, now you want everyone to come to your rescue. Listen, let your children live. Train them up in the way they should go so that when they're old, they will not depart from the truth. Let the children live. Let them enjoy being young while they're young. Don't make them old before their time. Don't put them in situations where they have to make adult situations and adult decisions. You and your partner are not making it. Don't bring your child into that kind of situation. Save them. Save their lives. Let them see good things. Don't badmouth the other parent. Let the child live. Make decisions for them while they're young, while training them. Teach them to make wise choices for their lives, because the day will come when you will have to step back and say, baby, you're on your own. But listen, if you've never taken the time to teach them what to look for in life and how to stand when the storms of life begin to rage, they will be one lost child. Listen, as they get older and they mature, then allow them space to come into who they were meant to be. Yeah, when they're young, you make the decisions. But as they get older, you step back a bit and you give them the opportunity to start making some decisions, and then trust them to make those decisions about their lives. Be close enough to them so that when and if they need you, they can call on you without any regrets, right? And so I'm here to say, if you handle your business as a parent, as a guardian, if you handle it the right way, the day will come when they will rise and bless you. Jesus said, handle the business, right? He says, work the works of him who sent you while it is day, because the night is coming when no man will be able to work. Jesus, who comes through 42 generations just to save us, to give us life, to return us to the tree of life. He did it through his death, his burial, and his resurrection. And since that time, he has ascended back to the Father, sitting on the right hand, making intercession for us. But the day is going to come when he's going to come and snatch us up away from this mess that we've gotten ourselves into. Aren't you looking forward to that day and that time? But listen, until that happens, we're going to have to work our shifts. And let me ask you, they used to ask this question at a certain time at night on television. Parents, do you know where your child is? Listen, they only get to be young ones. Let them be young. Don't dress them up too early. Don't send them out too early. Don't trust them with the wrong responsibility too early. Do it in shifts. Take your time, and the day will come, I promise. The day will come when this will all make sense. All righty, well listen, I'm praying that you have a good rest of today. The Lord will continue to bless you, that he'll continue to be your supply. And I pray that on tomorrow, you'll find a house of worship where you can go to, take your children, and take time to listen to them, talk with them, look at them, love on them, hug them, embrace them, give them the reassurance in the midst of their hurts and their struggles and their pain. Remind them that we all have a Heavenly Father who's watching over us, and he has promised to never leave us nor forsake us. Okay, well, this is Dr. Winfrey saying I love you. God loves you. Be of great courage. Keep the faith and hold on to God's unchanging hand. Until next time we meet, have a great rest of today. And again, God bless you. We shall behold him face to face one day in all of his glory. Take care.